Welcome back, Patriots, for another episode of the Paul Brad Show. It is officially Tuesday, November 12th. We are now days away from the election. We got a couple predictions in, folks. That was a part of my grid. If you didn't see it, it is for those remaining House seats. We have 2 of the 6 that I predicted. That's Arizona District 1 and Arizona District 2. Now we just need Washington 4. We need California 13, California 22, and Iowa 1. And baby, we take back the House. Now, I haven't seen any updates yet. I know a lot of people are predicting we're going to have it, but a clean sweep would be nice. Now, you guys had me cracking up already looking at the chat. It just shows you how great of a community we have here. And now, if you're just tuning in and you're new to our channel, it's all about the community, the Patriots. You guys are talking about pigs. So you're talking about moving. Like, we all know each other. It's like you come in, you know what I mean, every morning, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and you catch up with one another, and then we go on our merry way, and we continue the conversations the next morning. That is awesome. That is freaking phenomenal. So, let's jump into the news today. Now, Donald Trump is building a dream team, and the message that I'm getting is this dude is not messing around with his team. And it's not just me, by the way. I've been watching other podcasters because I was curious on what they thought. And some of these people are not into politics, folks. They're just kind of average Joe people that do their channels about other things, but they're talking currently about Donald Trump's picks. And even all of them are saying, yo, these people are not messing around. And that's the message that you want. You want that type of persona where, look, we want peace, but at the same time, we're the adults. We ain't messing around. And we've all been there, right, in our life. Mostly you see that kind of in the education system where you know about that one teacher that's going, yeah, don't mess around with that dude. He ain't letting you get away with nothing. Don't screw around. Just show up, do what you need to do, bada bing, bada boom, and leave. That's what's going on here. So we're going to be going over more Donald Trump picks. One of them, I'm all fine with all the picks. I just haven't seen Vivek get anything yet, and that's what I'm kind of bummed out about. But let's break this down. So the first thing I want to get into is morale. Not just for Americans. We feeling great. I'm still on a high, baby. I am still feeling good from that election. And well, so's the Border Patrol, baby. Border Patrol morale is through the roof after Trump's victory, Union President says. How could it not be, man? Waking up, kind of that weight off your shoulders, knowing, okay, we're going to get the support that we need. We're going to get the support that we want. And we've had this guy in the past, and well, his word is his bond. So morale among U.S. Customs and Border Protection agents has skyrocketed following Donald Trump's landslide election victory last week, according to the National Border Patrol Council President Paul Perez. Trump made illegal immigration and border security central parts of his 2024 platform, promising to finish his southern border wall and conduct the largest deportation operation in U.S. history. Now, Donald Trump's serious about this, okay? He picked Tom Homan. The dude is a savage, man. This guy is the guy that you want as a border czar. And we'll get into it because the left is spazzing out over Donald Trump's pick for the guy to handle the border. And it's one hell of a pick. We've received hundreds of calls, text, emails, just saying how happy the agents are. There are a lot of agents that had originally said that they would retire if Trump did not win. And now those same agents are saying they're going to hold back on their retirement because they want to serve under this administration again, because they know exactly how it was during the first administration. And they know this one's going to be even better. You know, you would think that maybe originally when you signed up for the border to kind of patrol it, that'd be like, it's not a bad gig. You know, there ain't nobody really coming across. It's a lot of dirt. You know, you just kind of hang out in your truck, have some coffee, maybe like a little bit of Bailey's in there, and you have a good time. But no, you can't do that when you have Democrats running things. You can't do that when you put the progressive left as leadership in this country. And now you're having bullets being fired at you. You have all these people with diseases coming across the border, terrorists, cartel, drug, violent gang members, like all these people. It's ridiculous. So good for them. And I'm glad their morale's up. And you know what? You got a president, especially for the military, that has your back. This is the guy that loves the veterans. This is the guy that loves police officers, firefighters, first responders, boots on the ground, the patrol, the border patrol agents. This is what it's about. And everybody's feeling good. Everybody's feeling a lot more relaxed, ready to go. And thank you so much, Lulu, for saying, hit that like button, smash it. Why don't we go ahead and pin that message? Love that. Well, like I said, the View, the left, the legacy media is flipping out about Tom Homan, and we'll get there in just one moment, but we got more border stuff for you. We got Charlemagne the God again, and he's blasting Democrats for not securing the border. I don't watch this guy's podcast, so I'm not going to say he didn't say this stuff in regards to where was this message kind of during the election? Where was this push to say that Democrats weren't doing their damn job? And maybe he did, so I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. Copied Terry. Oh, okay. Well, Terry got up there yesterday, so I guess we'll go back and forth. We'll go back and forth. I appreciate both of you guys helping me out. Thank you so much. Well, he made these remarks a Sunday ABC News interview with Jonathan Karl on This Week. He goes, I think some of this backlash to race and gender and identity politics, he said, but man, most people, they just care about keeping food on the table and keeping our roof over their head. And I think sometimes people forget about that. What people are you talking about? Sometimes people forget about that. Who are these people? That's what I want to know. Because 85% of the country voted for Donald Trump.
What do you make of the demographics here? I mean, Trump got 1 out of every 3 voters of color.
No.
Yeah.
1 out of
33%.
No. Really?
Yeah.
When you say color, you mean like black, brown, everything? Oh, well, I think that, people have different issues that they care about. And I think that there's nobody out there that's a single issue voter. I think some of this is a backlash to race and gender and identity politics. But, man, most people, they just care about keeping food on their table and keeping a roof over their head. And I think sometimes people forget about that. I think that they forget about, the working class. And for whatever reason, Donald Trump speaks to the grievances of the working class in a real way. And I keep telling folks, people will forget what you did. They'll forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. And when you go back to 2020, even though it was a pandemic and it was COVID,
yeah,
people don't care. All they know is they got stimulus checks with his name on it, and that's what they remember. And so people think about that. When you have conversations with folks, they be like, yo, I remember how 2020 felt. And they think that they're going to feel that, in this next term.
Yeah, I mean, how do you explain? I mean, he obviously swept the battleground states. He drove up, turnout around the country in Republican areas, but he did much better than he had done before in places like Chicago, Brooklyn, Queens.
Really? What? Yeah, 33%. Yeah. I mean, they say color. You mean like black, brown, and everything? Yes. Oh, gosh. I think people forget about, the food and the kitchen table issues. They just want to have a roof over their head. Nobody forgets about it. That's why everybody voted for Trump. Oh, God, it's too good. So he blasts the Democrats regarding the border. But, why didn't you do this necessarily the entire time that we were running this election or during the 4 years that Joe Biden was running office? And like I said, maybe he did.
Trump is saying, build the wall. And when they were telling you that it was a problem, y'all were saying, no, it's not a problem. Let's create sanctuary cities and let's bring, the people into our cities. And so when they started putting those, illegal immigrants on the buses and on the planes and sending them to those sanctuary cities, what did they say then? No. Don't come. So it looked like the Republicans were right and Democrats were wrong. And nobody knew that was going to be one of the big central issues that people thought about when they went into that voter booth. Trump is saying.
It's weird also how he's talking. He's almost making it seem like he's not a part of the Democrat side of the aisle when I'm almost positive he is. But that's here nor there. Good on him for calling out the Democrat Party and all the, messaging the red flags that Donald Trump was waving back in 2016. Hey, we need a border wall, Nancy. We need a freaking border wall, Chuck. The American people know it, you know it. Fence, wall, whatever. I want it so big. I want it so big that Elon Musk, Daddy Musk, Uncle Musk could see it from Mars. From Mars. Anybody have a Mars bar? I love Trump. Anyways, so we have fun here, do we not? Do we not have fun? If you're having a good time, hit that like button. It really does help, folks. Our podcast yesterday on YouTube went off the chains. Normally we get right now we're averaging about 1,000 views per video, both between Rumble and YouTube. Yesterday we hit like 3,000 views between both, which is great. So here's what Trump's incoming border czar has said and done about border deportations. This is the message you want to send. And the dude's coming for people, a lot of people. So Homan has made a name for himself during the first Trump administration after being appointed acting director of ICE and immediately began ramping up deportations. In the first 3 months of Trump's first term and under Homan's leadership, ICE arrested more than 41,000 illegal immigrants, which was 38% increase over the same period from the year before. Homan impressed Trump as acting ICE director, and the president tapped him to lead ICE permanently. But in April 2018, Homan announced that he was retiring over family and personal considerations. So he's been kind of what I listened to in an interview is he's kind of been talking, like, I'll come back, I'll work for free. Like, we need to get this under control. Trump gave him the opportunity, and well, he's back. He says, look, you want to know why there's 50,000 people in detention? You want to know why we are having 1 million illegal entries in the United States? You want to know why we have these issues? Because you have failed to secure the border, Homan said. You have failed to support the president to close these loopholes. So there is a clip where Homan was in Congress here, and look, he's not wrong.
You were saying that. I wish somebody in Democratic leadership would say that out loud. Look, you want to know why there's 50,000 people in detention? You want to know why we have 1 million illegal entries in the United States? You want to know why we have these issues? Because you have failed to secure the border. You have failed to work with this president to close the 3 loopholes we've asked for 2 years to close. So if you want to know why this issue exists, you need to look in the mirror. You have failed American people for not securing the border and closing loopholes.
Mr. Homan, please respect the chair and the authority of the chair. The time of the gentleman has expired.
I've asked you politely to let me go beyond my time, and you let other people go beyond their time, but not to Tom Homan. He don't get to go beyond his time.
Mr. Homan, we have approved an agreement between the Republicans and the Democrats with the ranking member. We increased the time of one member of Congress who was interrupted by a protest. That is done with the approval of the ranking member. Please respect the chair's authority.
I respect the chair's authority, but the chair...
Mr. Homan!
You work for me. I'm a taxpayer. I'm a taxpayer. You work for me.
The witness will suspend.
Yes. We need somebody like that. Just sitting there, putting a Democrat in their place, thinking like they're all high and mighty, right? They're above the rest of us. Good for you, Tom. Good for you. Sticking up for yourself. Sitting there trying to silence you. No, we ain't gonna allow it to happen. We ain't gonna allow it happen. And you know, he's like that with everybody, by the way. He tell it like it is. He tells it like it is. Here's the Democrats, and here's Tom's hand slapping that shit out.
And your name is on this. Is this correct?
Yes, I signed that memo.
So you are the author of the family separation policy?
I am not the author of this memo.
You're not the author, but you signed the memo.
Yes, a zero tolerance memo.
So you provided the official recommendation to Secretary Nielsen on for the United States to pursue family separation.
I gave Secretary Nielsen numerous recommendations on how to secure the border and save lives.
But it says here that you gave her numerous options, but the recommendation was option 3, family separation.
What I'm saying, this is not the only paper where we've given the Secretary numerous options to secure the border and save lives.
And so the recommendation, of the many that you recommended family separation.
I recommended zero tolerance.
Which includes family separation.
The same as is with every U.S. citizen parent gets arrested when they're with a child.
Just that silence. The silence is what gets me. She doesn't know what to say. Oh, Tom, stop it.
Zero tolerance was interpreted as the policy that separated children from their
If I get arrested for DUI and I have a young child in the car, I'm going to be separated. When I was a police officer in New York and I arrested a father for domestic violence, I separated that father
Mr.
from his
Holman, with all
family.
due respect, legal asylees are not charged with any crime.
When you're in the country illegally, it's violation 8 United States Code 1325.
Seeking asylum is legal.
If you want to seek asylum, you go through the port of entry, do it the legal way. The Attorney General of the United States has made that clear.
Okay.
He's the best, dude. This guy does not mess around, man. Oh, we got more. Again, the title of today's show is Donald Trump sending a clear message to the world. You start with this guy, right? Going, hey, you know what? We're going to start protecting our borders again. We're going to start protecting national security, which we have a new national security advisor. We're going to go through the people, folks. Don't worry. I got you taken care of. You're going to see Donald Trump forming his cabinet. We got a lot of new positions being filled. Just hold tight. Here's some more of Tommy Tom.
They stopped the border wall. They canceled Remain in Mexico. They reinstated catch and release. They proposed amnesty for millions, along with free health care. And now we have a record illegal migration, a record number of women and children being sex trafficked, a record number of Americans dying from fentanyl, a record number of known as suspected terrorists sneaking across our border. And here's what you need to know. This isn't mismanagement. This isn't incompetence. This is by design, and it's a choice. It's national suicide. But you know what? On November 5th, the American people do have a choice, and they're going to stop this madness. I got a message. As a guy who spent 34 years deporting illegal aliens, I got a message to the millions of illegal aliens that Joe Biden's releasing our country in violation of federal law. You better start packing now.
Oh, shit. Yo. Woo. Daddy Tom ain't happy. Daddy was out for a while, a little bit of retirement, but he's coming back. And this is the clip that we saw yesterday. And it says everything you need to know, and then we'll move forward.
We have seen one estimate that says it would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people a year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
Yo! Whoa! It gets me every time, dude. Of course there is. Families can be deported together. Oh my God. Oh, that's just where you need the freaking Thug Life glasses coming down with the blunt. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And you know the View is losing their crap over this, right? The left is like spazzing out. Which honestly, I'm all for it. I love watching the left just go. Because it's content. It's content. They don't know how to contain themselves. They don't know how to handle themselves like adults. So here's the View. What is he saying is that U.S. citizens can be deported. They're just not with us, man. I'm telling you, these people, they come up here. I don't know if they talk amongst themselves like before the show, or they just like, okay, who's going to say the stupidest, dumbest thing today?
She's feeling better. Now, the former head of ICE, Tom Homan, has just been picked as border czar for the upcoming administration, and he recently went on 60 Minutes to justify the price that migrants and Americans will pay for his plan. Take a look.
We have seen one estimate that says it would cost $88 billion to deport 1 million people.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with seeing it a third time, is there?
A year.
I don't know if that's accurate or not.
Is that what American taxpayers should expect?
What price do you put on national security? Is that worth it?
Is there a way to carry out mass deportation without separating families?
Of course there is. Families can be deported together.
I don't care what anybody's opinion is on illegal immigration. When you create a crisis this big, all these other bad things happen. That's why we have to secure the border. I don't care if you're a Republican, a Democrat, or independent. Border security is national security.
So perhaps that means that they will go back to the plan that was that both the Republicans and the Democrats were going to do at the border and was stopped by you-know-who. So maybe that's in his mind, that there is something to do there.
You realize, I mean, it's chilling what he just said. You realize that when he says, yes, families can be deported together, what he is saying is that U.S. citizens can be deported.
God, here we go. Here we go. That is not what he's saying. You see right here? You guys see right here? Yeah, there's supposed to be a brain in there. She must have sneezed too hard and it fell out into the toilet or something.
Deported. What he is saying is, if the parent is undocumented and they have U.S. citizen children or U.S. citizen spouse, or and you don't want to separate them, then let's deport the U.S. citizens.
He never said that. I don't know where they get this stuff from. I guess from a note card that somebody else wrote for them. He's talking that if the children are illegal, the parents are illegal, you could sit there and not have to separate them and just, deport them together is what he's saying. People.
Look, Donald Trump won the electoral vote. He won. He's going to win the House. He won the Senate. For all effects and purposes, he's got the Supreme Court. They've given him.
Don't forget about the popular vote. Throw that one in there too.
Immunity. This is what the country voted for. This is, a lot of people thought that when he talked about mass deportations, he wasn't being serious. I don't know how many times he had to say it for people to realize he was being serious. Well, if you thought he wasn't being serious, the appointment of Tom Homan today as border czar, and he will be in charge of a mass deportation program, the largest the country has ever seen, they say. And now Stephen Miller as deputy chief of staff.
Whoa, you're biting into my content, lady. We're not there yet, folks. Hang tight, okay? She's stepping on my ish. Don't appreciate that, Anna.
Let you know that he was absolutely serious. And when you talk about mass deportations, people think, oh, it's just going to be the criminals. There's not enough criminals, aliens in the federal prison system for it to be mass deportations. What it means is grandmothers. What it means is brothers and aunts. Yep. What it means is abuelos y abuelas. It means dreamers. It means family members. It means your colleagues. It means your friends. It means people who are part of the society. And look, America, those of you who voted for Trump, this is what you wanted. This is what you voted for. You screwed around and you're about to find out.
Well, no, I'm not about to find out because I do my research. I've been talking about this stuff for years. I'm not about to find out anything. He said he was going to do something and he's going to do it. He said he was going to do something the first time around and he did it. None of this is a surprise to me. Not whatsoever. I'm excited. Finally, we have somebody that's stepping up for Americans. Look at this idiot. Well, you're going to find out. No, we're not. I didn't break the law. I got nothing to worry about. For those people that came here when they shouldn't have been, yes, wearing the Biden shirts, right? All those things. Yes. Especially the criminals, man. You think you're going to come here and rape our women and kill our wives and our family members? No, I don't think so. And that stuff ain't going to fly. And it wasn't just them getting triggered, you guys. It wasn't them just freaking spazzing out over this whole thing. You also have CNN. CNN's spazzing out, doesn't know what to do. Their heads going around like the Exorcist. And well, a former Trump campaign official triggered a CNN commentator this week over the subject of mass deportations. The content, you guys, it's flow. I can't even keep up with it, really. It's just flowing in deep. And here's the trigger, baby. Let me make sure I get this set up in the highest possible quality.
Maria there expressed doubt for that support among registered Latino voters for mass deportation, and also doubt among Latino voters as to whether Trump would actually carry out this policy. I'm wondering where you land on this.
I think if you look at the polls, it's very clear that immigration was actually one of the top issues. If you look at this new exit study that just came out a couple of days ago, immigration was cited as one of the top 5 issues for Hispanics for voting against Kamala Harris. So I think it's very clear that Hispanics, no matter which polls you look at, favor a very strong border policy because it's just common sense. We simply cannot have millions of people rolling around this country who have been unvetted. Many of them have criminal backgrounds. I agree, most of them do just come here because they want to work and they want to have a better life. But we don't know that because we don't know who these people are. So I actually do not anticipate any kind of major backlash to these to any kind of border enforcement.
Giancarlo, come on. You know better. You know so much better than what you are spouting right now. Our community is going to go through pain. Our community is going to go through cruelty. That is not what anyone voted for. And in fact, I will tell the American electorate, if the incoming Trump administration goes through this, here's the people that they're going to go after. They're going to go after your kids' classmates. They're going to go after your delivery guy. They're going to go after the people who take care of your kids. They're going to go after the people who work in restaurants. They're going to go after the business owners in your community. They're going to go after the people who work and who own the farmers markets that you love going to on weekends. This is going to be a snapshot of incredible pain and cruelty. And this is, again, they tried to do a semblance of this in 2017, and we saw the backlash. So, I'm saying if this is what you all think you have the mandate for, go for it. You're going to see very quick and very horrifically the kind of backlash you're going to get. I don't think people voted for a cost of almost $100 billion that you all are going to spend if, in fact, you are going to deport the 12 to 15 million. Some people in your party think it's 20 million undocumented immigrants that are here. Go after the criminals. Absolutely. And in fact, that's what every administration has done. But can you actually tell me that Trump's CEO friends are not going to go crazy when he goes after the undocumented immigrants who actually pick fruits and vegetables? They're going to say, what the hell are you doing with my workforce? This is an administration that has no clue what is about to happen. They are clueless in terms of the real world effects of something like this. They are clueless in terms of real immigration policy and how it affects communities and what the actual solutions are. Giancarlo, you know very well that mass deportation is not a solve for immigration, and we need a solve. And the real solve for immigration is absolutely making sure that there's strong border security, but you also have to have expanded legal pathways. That's not what this is.
Oh, so no repercussions for breaking the law. Gotcha. You got to love how they're going to lecture us on all this stuff, right? On what we should be aware of how things are going to work. The same outlet that sits there and still says they're unbiased. The same outlet that said Kamala Harris is going to win. The same outlet that says all this crazy psycho stuff, and we're supposed to sit there and listen to all of them. People don't really know what's going to hit them. People really don't know this or that. Well, here's the same, a little bit more of an extension of that clip from the guy that just had to sit there and listen to this lady moan and complain the entire time.
Community is sick and tired. This is not specific to Maria, but the Hispanic community is sick and tired of DC elites pulling on our heartstrings. I think those heartstrings have been tugged at so hard that they've snapped. We're sick and tired of people so they could feel better at cocktail parties saying that the murders of people like Laken Riley, though tragic, are just part of being a generous society. We're telling people loud and clear, you do not speak on our behalf. And these Hispanic groups, we have to keep in mind, these are the same people who in just a couple of years ago encouraged their party to call us Latinx. These are the same people who lobbied Joe Biden to apologize for calling Laken Riley's murderer an illegal immigrant. Yes, Joe Biden apologized for calling Laken Riley's murderer an illegal immigrant. Not a single Hispanic, not one, was offended by that. These groups do not speak for our community. They are way to the left of your average Latino. We're not worried about pronouns. We are worried about prosperity.
Nicely done. Nicely done. And CNN does not have a clue. They don't have an actual clue. But don't worry, you guys are gonna find out. You guys are gonna find out what you voted for. Okay. Please. You gotta love it. He's gonna show you. Okay. Please? I don't understand that. Yeah. You're gonna F around, you're gonna find out for what I voted for? Isn't that what I expect to take place? Is to get the outcome of which I voted for? What the hell? You're gonna find out. Oh, they're gonna get rid of all these people, the truck drivers. Oh, God, dude. We're not done yet. We're not done. So if you didn't hear, Kamala Harris's campaign is $18 to $20 million in debt. And these are the same people that were allegedly going to run the country at some point if Donald Trump hadn't have won. Remember, the same people that can't run a state or a locality, let alone the federal government, can't run and budget a campaign correctly. So if they can't even do that, what makes you think they're going to be able to run the country correctly? If they can't even get their finances in order on a campaign of upwards of $1 billion, what makes you think they'll be able to figure out $1 trillion? What makes you think they'll be able to budget anything? Folks, they paid Oprah Winfrey $1 million during a failed White House quest. And she wasn't even the top paid person. Every celebrity, I think Beyonce got paid $10 million or something like that. $1 million goes towards Oprah. And again, she wasn't even the highest paid person. Every individual was paid. Eminem was paid. Beyonce was paid. Oprah was paid. What's her name? Megan Thee Stallion or wherever the hell that lady's name is called, got paid like in the millions. None of these people really cared about the Democrats. If they did, they would have done it for free. Just come out and say what you need. Hey, will you support me? Yeah, for $10 million. So she's $18 million to $20 million in debt. She sat there. Kamala is so bougie that she went on some podcast. I forget the name of it. It's like I can't even tell you the name of the podcast. But anyways, the podcast studio's in LA. And she didn't want to fly to LA, so she had a studio built in a hotel room for $100,000 because she didn't want to go to LA. Why would you not just make it a trip to LA and then have a bunch of dinners out there from donors and just make money off of it? Like, make it a trip. Because she's an idiot. That's why. She is far gone, not with us. C'est la vie, not coming back. Now, let's get into the meat and the substance of this. We know that Tom Homan was selected as the ICE director. Phenomenal pick. Sends a clear message to the rest of the world. And I said yesterday, Donald Trump is going to build the greatest team of all time. He's going to build the best cabinet we've potentially ever seen. He messed up his first term. He's new to politics. He took other people's advice. He's been around for 8 years now. The guy knows. He knows. So now we're going to start getting into a little bit of the picks in just one moment. But you know how this works, folks. We got to sit here and give a few shout outs as we always do. And this one is 5G free. I want to talk about things that people are afraid to say out loud. And quite frankly, folks, things are going south with the Biden-Harris administration. Who is in control of America's nukes? It's not Biden. We just saw him almost trip through the sand yesterday. Meanwhile, we have Russian ships off the coast of Florida and full-blown wars in Ukraine and Israel. The world is easily at its most unstable point since World War II. And with nuclear weapons, the stakes are 10 times higher. How do you people basically stay safe? Every prepper needs to have RadioGuard Ace, the only FDA-approved drug to treat radioactive fallout. Only the feds had it until now, baby. Now we have an opportunity. That's why Rumble partnered with 5G Free, the only company in the world that has a supply of RadioGuard Ace and the ability to prescribe it. Get your radiation emergency kit with RadioGuard Ace, potassium iodide, Zofran, and a Geiger counter. There's simply no other tool in the arsenal to protect against radioactive threat. Go to 5gfree.com, code STUDIO, to save 15% and get your radiation kit now, folks. And hopefully you'll have that. And Donald Trump get in office, you're kind of covering all bases, baby. And speaking of war, speaking of things that can go south, let's hope Donald Trump fixed that, because he warned Putin not to escalate the war in Ukraine. There was allegedly a phone call between Putin and Donald Trump on Thursday, and he warned him not to escalate his war against Ukraine while stressing that the United States has forces in Europe. Meaning, don't mess with me, Vlad. I'm not Joe. Don't F with me. Trump spoke to NBC on Thursday. The media outlet reported that Trump had spoken to about 70 world leaders since his election victory. This guy does not rest. I heard rumors that he was awake for 3 days straight. 3 days straight for the election. I heard that from Megyn Kelly, Charlie Kirk, and others. They were like, he was not sleeping, and everybody else wanted to sleep. Like, no. Get me on the phone with this person. Get me this person. What's going on with the polls? He spoke with 70 world leaders, you guys. It's only the 12th. It's only the 12th. Hell yeah, Mr. President. Thank you. Including Vladimir Zelensky. Putin congratulated Trump on his electoral victory on Thursday. His behavior at the moment of an attempt of his life left an impression on me. He turned out to be a brave man. He manifested himself in a very clear way, bravely as a man, which says a lot, because a lot of cultures out there look at how somebody reacts to something and how they carry themselves. We kind of diminish that a little bit here in America, but other cultures really highly respect the way that an individual, specifically a man, that testosterone, that masculinity really carries itself, and it goes a long way. And I think that really spoke volumes, not just to Putin, but the rest of the world. He added that Trump statements about the desire to restore relations with Russia to help end the Ukrainian crisis, in my opinion, deserves attention at least. So this is good, because Donald Trump wants to end this whole thing and get peace over there. And then once he has peace there, he can get peace, hopefully, in the Middle East, and start, uplifting not just the United States, but in a consequence of uplifting the United States, the rest of everybody else. And that's why we talked about the Venezuelans yesterday being all excited. Trump's initial calls with world leaders are not being conducted with the support of the State Department and U.S. government interpreters, the Post complained. The Trump administration, their transition team, has yet to sign an agreement with the General Services Administration, a standard procedure for presidential transitions. Trump and his aides are distrustful of career government officials following the leaked transcript of presidential calls during his first term. Don't blame Trump whatsoever. I don't trust the government either. The entire government's been going after Donald Trump and his family this entire time. I got no qualms with Trump doing this. He's like, they're looking at me. They used the FBI to spy on his campaign. I don't blame Trump one damn bit. Good for him. Good for him. Good. Now, here's a little bit of this GOAT team. We know Tom Homan's there. We know Stephen Miller is tasked to take up a certain position. We'll get there. We got a UN ambassador here. Now, if you recall, he said Nikki Haley's not coming back. I don't blame him for the things that she said about him. Even though she was a very good UN ambassador, I really did like her. But Elise Stefanik is that is an upgrade. That like skipped some versions, you know what I mean, in the upgrade. It went from like 1.0 being Nikki Haley to like 2.0, 3.0 to like 10.0 Elise Stefanik. Like Donald Trump must have used Elon Musk to upgrade that position immediately. Yo, she's outspoken. And the world's about to hear the voice of the United States big time, because this lady does not play around. Oh, no. So there, you got a strong man as the ICE director. You got a strong woman here, an intellectual woman as UN ambassador. I love this lady. President-elect Donald Trump has reportedly offered Elise Stefanik the position of U.S. ambassador of the United Nations. I'm honored to nominate Chairwoman Elise Stefanik to serve in my cabinet as U.S. ambassador to the United Nations, Trump said. And folks, she's spicy and she's feisty and she's willing to get a little bit of work done for the Americans, baby. So good pick on Donald Trump there, a part of the greatest team ever assembled. I hope she accepts. Donald Trump is also expected to tap Marco Rubio as Secretary of State. I'm not against it. It's not a bad pick, really. Remember, Marco Rubio was allegedly in line to be the vice president. And allegedly, from what I heard, is that the scheduling versus the travel and something else, according to what Marco Rubio said, was it just didn't work out. It wasn't that he didn't want to take the position. It just wasn't, it's just not going to happen. So, Secretary of State, not a bad pick. I'm a fan of Marco Rubio. I'm not saying I'm a fan for him to be president, but this type of position is great. Personally, wanted Vivek in this position. That's what I'm a little bummed out about. I wanted to see my boy Vivek in this position, and it makes me think that maybe Vivek Ramaswamy is not going to be a part of the Trump administration. Kind of sad to see that, but we'll see here. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Vivek will be White House press secretary. I don't know. So he elected and is expected to tap Marco Rubio to be Secretary of State when he takes office. Rubio is widely known for his foreign policy and a solid pick for reestablishing American dominance on a global issue and the global stage. Couldn't agree more. And this works great because he's known for taking hard lines with Iran as well as China. So like I said, Marco Rubio is not somebody you can just push around, as well as with combination of Elise Stefanik in the UN. This stuff's going to start moving quick. And these are both loudmouths. That's what I love, especially Elise. She is a loudmouth. Nikki Haley was a little bit more quiet, a little bit more diplomatic in her words and the way she would push back on leaders on the world stage at the United Nations. I think Elise is going to sit there and, kind of bring that up a little bit of a notch. And then Marco Rubio is going to be working behind closed doors to really get stuff done and advance Trump's foreign policy. So good on Trump on that pick. We also had breaking news this morning on this pick as well here. Kristi Noem to lead Department of Homeland Security. So she is from South Dakota. She's another firecracker, folks. And she's coming out and potentially going to accept this position. Now, this is huge because you currently have the thumb, right? The guy that lies to Congress, says the border secured, DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas at the helm. She is going to sit there and take over DHS. And she is another great pick, by the way. This is a woman that does not mess around and really appreciate it. So the department, which oversees U.S. Customs and Border Protection, CBP, and Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, will be a crucial position in carrying out Trump's central campaign promise to close the southern border and fix illegal immigration. The department also oversees FEMA, which, as many of you know, sat there and said, hey, you know what? Don't go ahead and help people that have basically Trump flags or advertising Trump, which is going bonkers right now. The move comes as the heels of the Trump picks Tom Homan as border czar, previously serving as the ICE director. So these are going to be two peas in a pod. And I'm telling you right now, folks, Trump's picks are off the chain. I don't have disagreements with any of them as of right now, which is a pretty remarkable thing to say, to be honest, because I'm pretty outspoken of things I don't like Trump did, okay, in his first term, like spend a bunch of money. Right now, he is building one hell of a team to sit there and put America first. And here's another one. Oh, we got a national security advisor. This just came out late yesterday. Trump taps a Green Beret veteran as national security advisor. Love it. Tap Mike Waltz, baby, Republican for Florida, to be his national security advisor when he takes office in January. Yes. The Wall Street Journal first reported Trump's decision to select the Green Beret veteran to the position on Monday night. A source familiar with the matter confirmed the report to the Daily Wire. National Security Advisor is a role that is highly influential in administration, as it is responsible for briefing the president on national security matters, coordinating between national security agencies, and executing the president's agenda. The role doesn't require Senate confirmation. No, sir, it doesn't. No. And Mike is a good pick. Mike is a great freaking pick. So I love that. And Mike is well known for his China hawk and should be a champion for a peace through strength approach for U.S. foreign policy. If you notice, a lot of these people push back on Iran. They push back on China. They push back on Russia. These are not people that are going to sit there and fold like a folding chair like we saw from the Biden-Harris administration. Everybody in the Harris administration, the Biden administration, sucked. They all sat there and caved to Iran. Iran, you guys, I say the $10 billion all the time No, Iran was getting tens to hundreds of billions of dollars from the United States. So these are people that aren't going to allow China to sit there and do these stupid ass war games around Taiwan. Maybe they will. We'll see. But these are people put in position to show strength. These are people to put in position to sit there and not allow other countries to push us around any longer. And I love it. And I'm all about it. And it's something that's a long time in coming. That's for damn sure. Been waiting a long time for us to finally be put number one and to be number one on the world stage. Something that also came out yesterday that I want to touch on is the Department of Education is, it's going to be gone. So Donald Trump is getting rid of the Department of Education, completely closing it down. And some of you might say, well, Brad, what do you think about that? That's why we're going to talk about it, because I'm an educator. I'm a teacher. And I'm going to say some things that goes against Trump here some way, shape, or form. I am for closing the Department of Education. I actually don't mind that whatsoever. But let's watch this and I'll kind of break it down for you. Because I have some channels. I've asked a few people if I could be a part of this team for Trump to kind of sit there and give my advice or wisdom of what I've seen since leaving accounting and going in the education field. And we'll see what comes of that.
And one other thing I'll be doing very early in the administration is closing up the Department of Education in Washington, D.C., and sending all education and education work and needs back to the states. We want them to run the education of our children because they'll do a much better job of it. You can't do worse. We spend more money per pupil by 3 times than any other nation, and yet we're absolutely at the bottom. We're one of the worst. So you can't do worse. We're going to end education coming out of Washington, D.C. We're going to close it up, all those buildings all over the place, and you have people that in many cases hate our children. We're going to send it all back to the states. Thank you very much. And
now, some things he talked about was in regards to education of a video that I watched earlier, was this idea of project-based learning and kind of wanting to implement ways and pathways for students to get internships so they can come out of high school with a skill set. Now, when I hear these types of things of what he wants to do with education, it's telling me there's not a lot of people around him that have any real experience within education. One thing he mentioned specifically that I liked, and then I'll get into kind of things I don't like, is he said, if you harm a teacher, you're going to be expelled. I really like that. But here's the thing. I don't know how he's going to enforce that from a federal level when the states are handling all these things. If he's going to give the responsibility back down to the states, then it's the states to make up kind of their own rules. And with those own rules is I don't know how he's going to sit there and implement those very things. We'll find out. But I like that because you guys, I don't think you understand the harm of teachers actually being physically assaulted every single day across the United States. I don't think Americans have a slight clue, even close to what they experience. I will go as far to say, I think there should be multiple layers to specifically verbal abuse to teachers. If you want to sit there and not receive some sort of parenting of how you should conduct yourself in a classroom, along with the way that you should speak to people, I think there should be consequences to that, because the verbal abuse that teachers get across the nation would never be acceptable at any other workplace. And for some ungodly reason, we go, well, they're just kids. No, I'm sorry, but a 16, 17, 18-year-old isn't just a kid. They're almost a grown adult that could be going off to war. No, that is not a person that should be able to speak, let alone physically harm a teacher or a worker that way. That's at a workplace. School system is not a fucking daycare. It's not a place to babysit somebody. It's a place of work. It's a place where people come to carry out a career, not to be verbally abused every single day. And as somebody that worked in the corporate world, I'm not for that shit, because anywhere else would be a massive lawsuit. So I'm good with somebody being expelled. Cool. You forfeit your education, figure it out later, and you'll go on your merry way. If you want to sit there and verbally abuse somebody every single day in the classroom, I think you should be let go as well. We could start with a suspension. Yeah, you want to sit there and verbally abuse somebody, cool. There's a 1 week suspension. If you want to continue that trend, I'm cool with 3 strikes. 3 strikes and you're out. And you could forfeit your education. You could find another district to go in, and your parents could sit there and suffer the consequences of your actions, because a school district and teacher shouldn't have to suffer the consequences of somebody else's actions for just showing up to work. So we need to put the freaking responsibility back onto the parents for bringing in a certain individual that wants to act a little knucklehead inside the classroom and ruin everybody else's education because they can't figure it out themselves. Now, that doesn't mean we shouldn't have support mechanisms or anything like that, but I don't think this should continue going forward because it's ridiculous. And like I said, I don't think anybody realizes how bad it truly is. It is terrible. It is really, really, really bad. So things I like that he's doing. I like this idea of project-based learning and all these things, but we need to get the behavior under control. If you get the behavior under control, a lot of things could figure it out. What about No Child Left Behind? That ended, Pat, in 2015. So No Child Left Behind was ultimately replaced. I forget what it's called. It's like ESSA, I believe it's called. I don't remember the acronym for it. But it's basically kind of a souped up version for that. But I think people should be held back as well. You can't keep advancing kids. And Trump didn't address this. There's a lot of things he didn't address, which is why I asked to be a part of this team, because he needs people, actual teachers in there telling the team what they need to do and what they need to resolve before they can even advance all these cool things that they want to do. They're not even, that's my problem. Here, why don't I complain about what I don't like? He's not solving anything that's below. You can't advance all these things you want to do without addressing the problems that are already happening. And maybe I'm just missing it because he didn't do it in his 3-minute video, but it's making me a little worried in that regard. And I don't have a lot of faith in all these people like Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk. Like, they're great, but they're not educators. Just because you go speak on college campuses doesn't make you know a lot of things that actually happens in the classroom. You need to sit there and get real teachers in that room with everybody else that are from high needs schools, work in gang infested schools, work in these high needs areas, all these things in there so they can actually display what's going on and what you need to solve first before you move to this next step. What I'm seeing is there's a lot of skipping here in this first step to all this stuff that they think that should be done in the classroom, which is great, but it's not going to work because you didn't fix the thing before. So I'm going to stay kind of hyper focused on the education thing. Good on him for removing the Department of Education. Doesn't really do anything anyways. So bring it back to the states and allow the states to figure it out. And that's how it should be, right? A lot of things should be offered back to the states. We made this government way too big. We federalized freaking everything, which is not the way that this country is supposed to be created or formulated, or never was even formulated in the first place. So not against this, but I'm against some things that he is saying here. And I think that's only fair that I give my critiques on this because I voted for the guy. I want him to succeed. And but it doesn't mean I have to agree with everything that he does. So somebody said, Craig, their only standard is that there's no standards, the fundamental flaw with communism and blunt force democracy. Yeah. Well, there's also no consequences in the education system. We let these kids do whatever they want. We pretend like we don't, but we do. And they know it. Since when are kids vaping at schools? This is crazy. Oh, no, it's more than vaping. Oh, it's way more than vaping. These kids do it. Yeah, no, it's way more than that. If you guys want, we can do a whole show on me sharing stories of what happens all the time in the public school system. I've seen entire bathrooms blown up before. Like, you can't use the bathrooms because they put fireworks down there. They're punching doors. They're vandalizing school property, disrespecting. I mean, I left my current place and I went back to a public school. I left that within 2 months. I resigned within 2 months of going back to public. Screw that, man. You couldn't pay me enough money. You could not pay me over $100,000 to go work at a public school. No way in hell. And that's what's sad, is because I like to think I'm somewhat of a good teacher. You couldn't pay me enough money just because of the behavior. And let me explain what happened. When all of us went to school when we were younger, is that it was a lot better inside the classroom because you used to remove the kids that had behavioral problems to a whole separate classroom. That way they didn't ruin everybody else's education, the 30 other kids that are in there. Well, these progressive lefties came out and said, well, everybody has to have equal access and the same education. And so what they did was they ruined everybody's education because now the behavioral problem is now a teacher's problem. And because the teacher can't get it under control because the kid doesn't care, well, now it's 36 other students' problem as well, and nobody gets to learn. And by the way, that's for one student. Can you imagine when you have 6 kids in there that don't give 2 bleeps about their education, don't care 1 iota on how chaotic that classroom must be? I've shared stories, you guys, where I literally had kids sitting on the floor next to me, right next to me on a towel. It was a middle school, just so they could hear my voice and learn. Explain to me why that's okay. Explain to me why 6 kids get to sit there and ruin everybody else's education because they don't care. Well, didn't you call in the administration? Of course I did. But their hands are tied. They don't get to remove kids from the classroom anymore. What, are you supposed to remove them every single day? Well, the true answer is yes. The true answer is yeah. If you don't want to come in here and get an education for some ungodly reason, that could be from outgrowths at home or whatever it is, it still doesn't give a right to ruin everybody else's education that's being paid for by parents and tax dollars. You could give them an education somewhere else. 100%. They can go somewhere else and get an education. Here's not where it's at. Sorry. Did we run the guys off? I don't know what's going on. I do teacher's hair. She has out of control student. She almost got, oh geez, I can't read that, but yeah. Oh, I have a friend that watches the show that teaches in Nevada that had a, not just a death threat on his life. There was 2 students. This was like 4th or 5th grade. A teacher caught their messaging back and forth because everybody has Chromebooks and iPads nowadays. I got to go, but let me share the story with you because it's going to blow your guys' mind. I have a friend. I have a really good friend in Nevada that a 4th or 5th grade teacher caught 300 plus messages on how these kids were going to sit there and kill him. Like multiple, it wasn't just like 1 or 2, right? 300 plus messages of the day they were going to do it, what weapons they were going to use, how they were going to do it, what they were going to do to him and make him suffer for a while. And not only that, when he found out, he reported it. The DA would not prosecute the kids or the families or anything of the sort. I shit you not. I think it was either the next day or 2 days later, those kids were back in the classroom with him. After a full-fledged death threat, proof and everything of how they were going to do it, the kids were back in the classroom with him. He walked off the job. That day, he literally walked off the job. That shows you how crazy and how bad things are. And that is not a joke. I didn't sugarcoat that one damn bit. It is bad. And people don't realize how bad it is. And I'm trying, and I've been trying to get the message out there, but these progressive lefties that run the show are crippling everything and making the education worse for everybody. So I think we'll end it there, folks. Always appreciate you. Thank you for hitting up the like chat. Thank you for hitting that like button. Leave us a comment down below. Check out our sponsors, folks. We'll be back here tomorrow with more news on Donald Trump's administration because it's going the right direction. It's going in a really great direction, and it's a direction that puts all of you first. It's a direction that puts America first, and it's a direction that's going to make America great again. Thank you, Patriots. Take care of one another. Have a blessed day. We'll be back here tomorrow, 6 a.m. Pacific Standard Time for another episode of The Paul Brad Show. See you later.